Hey Matthew, so I went ahead and updated 4 different programs using this new software that's very easy to use, and all of them didn't have audio, unfortunately. So what we are going to do is redo this guy here, and it's funny because I actually started out every video that I did that you couldn't hear with "I'm not the most techie person in the world," and this is a new system. Bit ironic because that's kind of proof in the pudding kind of thing. But let's go ahead and redo it and look back at your programming. So to start things off, we're going to go ahead and switch this camera around here. Bam. All right, awesome. So as you can see, we are finishing out this rep cycle of triples. Now, I did make a change in your programming big time. What I mean by that is, bam. All right, awesome. So sorry, that was the last week. Now, at this point here, we're actually going to make a lot of changes. And what I did was I looked at in the past what has been working for you and what hasn't. And that combined with my in-person experience with you, I found a series of lifts that I think are going to be very beneficial long-term. The first one on Tuesday, and this is obviously the first week of it, we're going to go ahead and actually bump back up in reps for our main rep scheme to 3 sets of 4. And we're going to get into more mechanically advantaged lifts. So for the conventional deadlift, for example, we're doing a 4-inch intermediate. So what that means is we're going to start with the weight 4 inches higher. So we're putting like mats or blocks under the load. Now, the only reservation I have about this is that I don't know if you have that equipment at your house. I scheduled it for the day that you train at your house. But at the same time, if you do not have it, no big deal. Easy fix. I'll go ahead and switch 2 of the deadlift days I have for you. It won't really change things up very much at all. But yeah, all it is, we're going to go ahead and grab 4 mats from Kabuki Strength, the area, and 4 mats, stick them under load, take the little lever, push them on top of the load, and just deadlift it from there. Shortens range of motion so we can load it maximally. So it's going to be a really good time for you to ingrain some of the neurological adaptations that happen with lifting very heavy weights, and you'll be in such a mechanical advantage that you'll be able to do so with ease. So you'll notice that the load ranges for that are much, much higher. And I'll go ahead and show you real quick what I mean by switching it with the other deadlift variation. So if you do not have access to mats or blocks at your place, no big deal. We're going to switch this guy here with this guy here, snatch grip deadlifts. Now, all snatch grip deadlift is, this one's going to be so good for you in your upper body strength, and on top of that size too. It's actually a really good mass builder for aesthetic qualities. But one thing I did notice is you kind of demonstrate a few characteristics of someone that can greatly benefit from increasing size/strength of the trapezius, rhomboids, and other musculature in our upper back. So this snatch grip deadlift is going to be really good for long-term development. We're doing it with a little higher volume to start because usually it actually benefits most from a little higher volume. But all it is, normally your grip for deadlift may be here. Now we're going way the heck out here. Snatch grip. But it's going to be same deadlifting principles. Nothing really changed. I suggest you start very light with it. We're doing it for a full month, maybe more if it looks good and it's progressing well. We're going to start with anywhere from 155 to 185. You're not going to push it too much the first week. But again, as your body adapts to those positions, I would like you to push that very, very much. Now, looking back at the training log, any other new things that we see here? So again, a lot of it's just manipulations of stuff we were already been doing. But transformer bar squat, we're changing to the 2B setting. Typically, people can load the 2B setting a lot easier. So you actually find that one to be a new one that's very fun to do. Pause squat, normal bar, 2 count pause on the bottom. I expect this one to be loaded very highly. Glute ham raise, we're sticking out with that. That one's going to be a killer one for you. We're doing some incline bench with a Duffalo. We're getting back heavy into dips. And I actually expect this volume to actually go up quite a bit. So I think it's going to be a very beneficial exercise for you. But not a whole lot of differences there besides that. Now, the one last thing that I will mention about the training log is I did write out a full month. Actually, if anything, maybe a little more than that, but about a month that I wrote out. But you'll notice that load ranges are only there for the first week, week and a half. There's a specific reason for this. Our body either goes down 15% or up 15% in its ability to produce force, mainly tied to the central nervous system. Now, the way whether it goes down or up is a series of different factors, some impossible to predict. So there's a total of 30% variance in your body's ability to produce force, which is huge, which is why I personally am a big fan of leaving load ranges very variable. I'm not a huge fan of percentages. So if I say 88%, it's 275 pounds. Well, what if you're in a down regulatory phase? That's a recipe to get injured. And same thing for up regulatory phase. Well, then you're under training. So I really like the idea of reps on reserve. How do you feel that day? Do you feel like you can do that weight 2 to 3 times extra? Awesome. That's load you should be using. So I went ahead and put weight ranges based on previous weeks for the first week and a half. And if you want to continue having guidance and load ranges, no big deal. You don't even have to check in. Just go ahead and let me know kind of the general idea of the loads that you used the previous week, and just say, hey, I need load ranges, and I got you. But putting out load ranges for a whole month when I don't even know what you did the previous week is, if anything, kind of bad on my part if I did do that. So again, if you want them, no big deal. I will supply them. Just need to have a general idea of what you did the week previous and how you feel. But you will notice the reps in reserve go down as you get later into that block. So you can also go by that just fine. If you, for some reason, need anything changed, though, just let me know. Even though you're a monthly client now and some things change, at the same time, you still will get as much communication as you want, and I plan on doing these monthly for you now, but at the same time, if you needed a form review weekly, I'd still be willing to do that, especially because you're in-house. The last thing I'll say is that I haven't got a chance to see you lift as much as I'd like to. Typically, at least once a week at each lift is kind of the minimum that I like to see clients lift, and lately it's been more like I see you in the gym once, it might be a squat day, and that's all I see. I don't get to see your deadlift or your bench, and oftentimes I'm also training, which makes it a little rough, especially because I'm getting ready for a meet. But what I'd like you to do is, from time to time, as often as you feel a need to, I want you to go ahead and send me videos, even if it's weekly, squat, bench, deadlift at the very least, and on top of that, anything else that you find to be giving you trouble. But I'd love to see at least squat, bench, deadlift weekly or something close to that. That way I can kind of monitor how you're moving and make sure that we are still going in the right direction in terms of always getting movement improvements. I think that's about it, and this time it worked, so great. Let me know if you need anything else, and let me know if you want to, or if you're coming in this week at some point to kind of review for.